Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at Command and Colors Tricorne, the American Revolution. This is the, I believe, newest installment in the Command and Colors system from Richard Borg, where it goes over the War of Independence. And it falls pretty closely onto the heels of Command and Colors Ancients. There's a lot of very similar feel to it, at least from what I can recall from Command and Colors Ancients. It's been a while since I've played that one, but there's a strong emphasis on holding the line. There's a strong emphasis on leaders and retreating, rallying. There's a whole lot of different stuff that goes in there. So let's get down to the table. I'll give you a very basic general run through of how the game flows, and then we'll come back with some special thoughts. Final thoughts a little bit later. Okay, so here I have set up for you a scenario from the Command and Colors Tricorne set by Richard Borg, specifically the American Revolution. Now this scenario is the Bemis Heights battle from October 7th, 1775, and the only reason really I chose this one is because it has the fewest number of units that I had to set up for the review. So there you have that. But notice that a couple of different things. You have the Continental Army on that side of the board. British Army is on this side with German allies to boot. These are your dice that you're going to be rolling for combat resolution. You have your medals, so to speak, over here that can be used for keeping track of victory points. And then you also have your command card deck here. And then something that's new, well, I don't know if it's specifically new for this, but it's new to me, and that is a British combat card deck and a Continental combat card deck. So, depending on the scenario rules, you're going to start with a certain number of command cards, and then you're also going to start with a certain number of combat cards, and both of those together make your hand. Each side is also going to be given their own unit reference chart, which has all the information for all of the units on both sides. In addition to that, on the other side, you have the terrain effects chart, which lays out everything for both players. There are 2 copies of this in the game, so each player will be able to have their own. As far as terrain that's on the board, you have your basic fare. You've got trees and other types of things that are in the game. For example, you have cities and towns, marshes, fences, in a lot of different kinds of configurations, hills, roads, rivers, bridges, hedges. You also have stone walls and a number of different things that are in there. So it really carries the period-specific kind of terrain. Now, the Commands and Colors system is a very basic war game system where the field is divided into 3 areas, the battlefield. And the cards that you have in your hand, generally speaking, will be, for example, this one says to probe center. So you will be able to choose 2 units in the center of the battlefield and give them an order, move them, attack with them, whatever you'd like to do there. Then you also have other cards which might do something like this, where it says outflanked, where you'll be able to choose 2 units over here and 2 units over here and move and attack with them or whatever you'd like to do. Now, on top of your command cards, and that's something that's a little bit different here, denoted by these bags, you're also going to have these combat cards, which can be played usually alongside your command card for a desired effect. But for example, you may have some combat cards which say play in lieu of your command card this turn, and you don't draw a command card at the end of your turn. And then this gives you a bunch of things that you can order and so forth and so on. But more often than not, you're going to have these cards that say play alongside your command card this turn, and all ordered regular infantry units with battle will battle with 1 additional die this turn. So, for example, if I played outflanked here, like so, and then I played that regular battle bonus on top of that, so I would be able to order 2 units over here and 2 units over here. And if they are regular infantry units, which these guys are up here and these guys are over here, then they will all battle with 1 additional die this turn. Now, some cards, as I showed you earlier, will be able to allow you to draw 1 additional combat card at the end of your turn. So you don't ever have to play these combat cards, and you can hold any number of them in your hand throughout the course of the game. So this is a pretty cool difference in the Command and Color system that's new to me. Again, I don't know if it's new across the board, but this is something new that I've run into that I really do enjoy. I like that extra oomph that I guess you could say comes along with these combat cards. Now, your turn basically exists in 5 different phases. The first phase is where you simply play a command card from your hand. And during that time is where you can choose to play a combat card along with it. So the first thing you'll do is you'll play a command card from your hand. You'll order the number of units that you're going to order, or that the card allows you to order. And then you will move them. If possible, you will combat with them, and then you'll go through your end of the turn, which has a number of different things that you can do in it. We'll just do 2 in the middle. And then at the end of my turn, I'm going to be able to draw 1 combat card. So as I'm ordering units, I get to choose 2 units in the middle to order. So I'm going to order these guys right here, and I'm going to order this regular unit over here. Now, when you order a unit, they can move and battle, but they don't have to do either of those. They can just move and not battle, or they can battle and not move. So I'm going to issue these guys in order to come over here like so, and then these guys, I'm just going to order them. They're not going to move, but they are going to fire. So over here, we look at the militia, and militia can move 1, but then fighting at range combat is pretty bad for militia. They're not going to be able to have range, and they're not going to have any effect anyway, so they're pretty much done. My regular infantry, though, can move 1, but we chose not to move, and then they can battle in melee with 2 dice, and then after that, a second hex away, they battle with 2 dice, and then third hex away, they battle with 1 die. So they would go 2 here in melee, 2 here, but then here would be 1 die. So I'm going to take a shot at these guys with 1 dice. Now, when you roll a die, you're specifically looking for the silhouette of the kind of unit that you're attacking. So in this case, we're looking at an infantry unit, so we want to roll that blue side of the die. All right, so a regular infantry unit here against a regular infantry unit, 2 dice, 1 die. So we roll 1 die. And we got a sabers, which in this case is no hit. Now, let's say that I did roll a flag and I made them retreat. Well, we look back on their infantry chart here, and retreat hexes, they have to retreat 1 hex back towards their side of the table. So they could go here or here. I'm going to go ahead and have them move back here like this. Now, you may be asking, why is it why did you want to retreat? Why didn't you want to cause casualties or something to that effect? Well, in the American Revolution, this Tricorne Commands and Colors, it's very important to have contiguous lines. Now, he still has right here a contiguous line, so he's not really hurt that bad, but these guys are out here in the middle of nowhere by themselves right now. Now, there's ways that you can move your troops back to reform that line and everything like that, but right now, they're not in a very good position. Furthermore, whenever a unit is forced to retreat, they have to, at the end phase, do a rally check. Now, a rally check is where you could possibly rout that unit off the battlefield. Even though you didn't score any casualties, they're scared, they're running away, they're no longer effective in the battle, and they count as a victory point towards you because they will retreat off the battlefield. So to make a rally roll, you have to look at how many blocks are in the unit, which is 4. And then if they are still at full strength, you're going to roll an additional die. So in this specific case, this unit is going to be able to roll a rally with 5 dice. Now what we're looking for here, in order to not retreat off the board, is at least one flag. And so we do get 2 flags, so that unit is okay. They're going to rally right where they are and not retreat any further. So now that we've gone over ranged combat, we're going to show you a little bit of a melee combat here, where these two units have moved forward. Of course, we're later on in the game, and they're going to attack here, and they're going to attack here as well. So these are both melee combats. We look at the board that says that regular infantry have that 2 in parentheses for melee combat. So we're going to be rolling a base of 2 dice from both of those units. Of course, they have to be resolved separately. But if a unit is at full strength, like this one right here, they're going to get a 3rd die added to it. Now, if, for example, if this leader had been over here, he would have a full strength unit and he would get a leader bonus, which means they would roll 4 dice. But since this leader is attached to this unit over here, that unit is normally just going to get 2 dice because they're not at full strength, but because there's a leader there, they're also going to get a 3rd die. So we're going to have 2 units attacking the one with 3 dice each. So we roll. We did not get any hits with our first unit here because we didn't roll any infantry symbols. But we did roll 1 flag. But because they are in a Fieldworks hex, they can ignore 1 flag. Additionally, because they have a leader there, they could actually ignore a 2nd flag as well. So they've definitely held up to that melee assault. But over here, we have another unit that's going to be hitting them as well, also with 3 dice. And so we roll that, and we have 2 flags this time, but as we already said, they have the ability to ignore 2 flags, 1 from the Fieldworks and 1 from the leader that is with them. Now, since this unit survived both of these attacks, they're going to be able to battle back in melee against both of those attacks. So against both of them, they're going to have a base of 2 dice because they're regular infantry. They are at full strength, so they're going to get a 3rd die, and they also have a leader present, which gives them a 4th die. So this maybe wasn't the best choice for the Continentals. All right, so 4 dice coming back at these guys over here, and oh, ouch. That is pretty nasty. So 2 hits are taken, which means that 2 of these blocks are removed, but no retreat flags were rolled, so they can stay right there. Now against the one with the leader, they're going to roll 4 dice as a battle back as well. And oh wow, alrighty. So we rolled 3 flags. Now they can only ignore 1 of them because the leader is there, so they have to retreat back 2 hexes. So if we look on our reference chart here, that regular infantry must retreat 1 hex for every flag that's rolled, so they have to retreat back 2 hexes. We're going to retreat back 1, 2, back into the trees from whence we came. So now that this unit has retreated back into the trees, you would think they feel safe in those trees. Well, no, not really. You still have to make a rally check for them. So you roll a number of dice equal to the number of blocks that are in there, so that's 3. Then they also get an additional die because there's a leader there. So they're going to be rolling 4 dice, and they're looking for at least 1 flag. So let's see here. All right, well, they got it. So they are safe. And that is, generally speaking, how play would flow, with each player taking turns going through those 5 different phases of playing a command card, possibly adding a combat card to it, ordering units, moving units, combating units, and then going through end phases where you're fixing up rally checks and all that kind of stuff, until the victory conditions are met. And victory conditions are met by whatever the scenario says. So right here, victory says 5 victory banners. Well, how do you get a victory banner? And that's simply by knocking out one of the units that is on the field, or maybe a scenario has a certain part of the battlefield that needs to be held, and as long as you're holding that part of the battlefield, you get a victory point, a temporary victory point for that. So the game continues until one player reaches 5 victory points in this specific scenario. Maybe it's 4 or 6 in another one, and whoever does that wins. So there you have it, a very basic understanding or general idea of how Command & Colors Tricorne, the American Revolution, plays through. It's very, very, very similar to all of the other Command & Colors games in that you're playing command cards to order your units in one or more specific fields of battle, possibly having that special ability thrown in there every once in a while, with the caveat being that you have these new combat card decks that are specific for each side, representing the different styles of training and the different morale that the men may have and all that kind of stuff. Now, pros and cons for this thing here. First of all, the first major pro, for me at least, is that this is a Command & Colors system that's set in the Revolutionary War. That's really cool because that's down my alley. Now, that might not be a pro for you, that might be a con for you. Just understand this is my review, so it's a pro for me. Another pro for me are these combat cards. These two decks that each side has really gives each other the ability to do something that the other team can't. Now, some of these cards are the same as what's in the other deck, but some of them are representative of the different commanders that might be in the battle, the representative of the different kinds of training that's there. So that's a cool thing. I like the fact that the command cards have this ability to draw another combat card at the end of your turn, and you can use those combat cards whenever you want to. I like that differentiation. It makes each side feel a little bit different, a little bit more different than the other side. So another pro for the game is the fact that these reference sheets come and they lay out every single unit on the field, not just yours. A lot of games do this, but they only give you your units. They don't give you what the other units can do. And I like the fact that this shows you units from both sides of the battle. Now, cons, actually. First of all, the look of the board was dismal at best. It was... I don't know what they were going for. I really don't. But it is bordering on just plain flat out ugly. The different terrain hexes that they have in the game, they seem almost muted, and they just don't, and the artwork just isn't very good. It just looks like somebody spilled their coffee and then drug it across one of these things for the roads. And I don't know. It just did not spark very much. I mean, I guess it carries out, it's functional. It carries out the role that it was designed for, in that showing you that, yes, there's some trees on the board here. Yes, there is a hex that has a fence around it here, and so forth and so on. But another huge con, and you probably have been waiting for this. Yeah, there were like 300 or 350 blocks in this game, and every single one of them have 2 stickers to put on them. So that's 600 stickers that I had to put on all of these stupid blocks. Yeah. Man, so many blocks, so many stickers. Almost. I wish they would have just been chits that I could have punched out, and there's my unit. Almost. That's how much I dislike stickers, and that's how much I dislike these blocks. Furthermore, the game just looks boring with blocks. Man, so boring. I just don't get it. Why do people like this? I don't understand. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, poo-pooing on everybody that does like this, but I don't understand. I would much rather have even some rudimentary miniatures out on the board. You don't even have to have different sculpts for all of the different kinds of units that are out there. Just give me something 3D to look at that isn't a square. So, yeah, that's my cons section. There's about 3 cons in there, I think. The stickers, the graphic design of the board, and the blocks. Those are my 3 cons, and they're pretty big because they're all pretty integral to the game. So that's that. Well, all in all, I'm kind of I'm kind of in the middle here. I'm between a rock and a hard place because I really enjoy the game. I really enjoy the backdrop of the American Revolution. I really enjoy the history that's here. But the blocks, the stickers, the graphic design, man, these are big hitters for me. So the rating that I'm about to give this is truly based upon just the game and how much I enjoy the Commands and Colors system. And that is going to be a whopping 7. The 7 comes simply because of the system that the game is built upon. I think that this could have been graphically designed. It could have been implemented much better. And I hope that they come up with a deluxe version or something. I don't know. That's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen. But that's my wish. So the 7 is based completely on the game itself and the mechanisms that are involved and how well I think it does. So all in all, I'm going to approve of this because I really enjoy Richard Borg's designs. I really think that he did a tremendous job with the Command and Colors system, and he does well in implementing that system to each of the different styles of combat that are used in these different eras. So that's a 7 out of 10 for me. I do enjoy it. It is 1.5 thumbs up. It would be 2 if it looked better on the board, but as such, it is 1.5. We'll see you guys on the flip side.